This video is brought to you by CatBeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
What's good, fellas? My name is Andy, and today we're gonna take a look at something a bit different. Basically, it's about the illegal defense rule, which has been modified many times throughout NBA history. But this particular part of the rule existed from 1979 to 2001. And then starting from the 2001-2 season, the NBA made zone defense legal and also removed the old illegal defense rules. They replaced those old rules with a new defensive 3-second violation, which means defenders are not allowed to camp in the paint for 3 seconds if they're not actively guarding anyone. Alright, so from 1979 to 2001, that covers Michael Jordan's entire career with the Chicago Bulls. He played all of his games there with the former illegal defense rules in place. Throughout his career, MJ scored a lot of his points in isolations, like this. And obviously, he was arguably the greatest one-on-one player of all time. I think most players who played against him would agree with that too. But at the same time, the old illegal defense rules made it a lot easier for him to score in those isolations. It was because those old rules did not allow defenders to be stuck in the middle of nowhere guarding nobody. If another defender wanted to go to Jordan and double team him, then he must immediately run towards Jordan and leave his man completely wide open. You can also recover back to your man, but you can't be caught in the middle, guarding nobody, or else that would be a violation. For example, look at this clip here. The defender leaves his man and goes straight to double team Jordan. This leaves Jordan with only two options: make a pass to his open teammate or try to score against the double team. However, back then, illegal defense violations were very common because defenders would always get stuck in the middle of nowhere defending nobody. And that was against the rules, and it resulted in a technical free throw. It also meant that players were not allowed to stand near the basket, sag off their man, play passing lanes, or get themselves ready to contest a drive with no one else around them. But in today's game, defenders can just play free safety all the time because of the new zone rules. So it's a lot harder now for players to score in an ISO. Here is an example of how defenses defend isolations after the old illegal defense rules were eliminated in 2001. Here's LeBron in the 2009-10 season. He's trying to go one-on-one against Larry Hughes on the Knicks, but then you have Wilson Chandler just hanging around in the paint without a single other Cavs player near him. He's ready to contest LeBron's shot, making it way harder for him to score. This play would be a violation against the Knicks for illegal defense if this was in the 1990s. We can see this exact same play with Charles Barkley actually in 1994, except there's nobody patrolling the paint because defenders were not allowed to do that back then. And then of course, Barkley just gets an easy layup. Okay, so let's take a look at a few more plays with LeBron first. In this play, you can see how Thiago Splitter is literally in the middle of nowhere, not even guarding anyone, but he's allowed to block LeBron from entering the paint. But that's fine because that type of defense is okay nowadays. But now here's a few clips of MJ playing against the Celtics. His Bulls teammates are standing off to the side to give him some space to ISO. As you can see, once he blows by his one defender, he can already get into the paint for a layup. Yes, the defense is still allowed to collapse on him, but only when he is about to attempt the shot, like in this situation. For players as talented as MJ though, it does not matter at that point. He already got into the paint, so it's basically a bucket or a foul. Now let's take a look at this clip of Kobe against the Celtics in the 2010 finals, after illegal defense was removed and zone was implemented. You have Ray Allen guarding him, but then you also have Rondo and Rasheed Wallace basically shadowing him in a zone. Even if he gets by Allen, the two other Celtics are sagging off their man so much that they'd be able to recover and still stop him from even getting into the paint. And you see, Kobe realizes this because he's basically getting sucked into a triple team 20 feet away from the basket. So he just settles for a long jumper instead. If this happened when Jordan played, the ref would probably call like 2 illegal defense violations on both Rondo and Wallace. Here's another example, and this time it's Tracy McGrady playing against the Pistons. His defender is right here, but then you've got Chucky Atkins and Ben Wallace both shadowing him as well, preventing T-Mac from getting to the rim so easily. If they weren't there, T-Mac could just play one-on-one and just get to the rim and dunk it or draw a foul or something. But Wallace and Atkins here are ready to steal the ball or stop his dribble or something like that. So just like Kobe, he settles for a mid-range jump shot, which is obviously a less efficient shot than one in the paint. Now here's Jordan playing against the Pistons back then. He only has one defender on him and nobody can shadow him, and it's only until he actually gets to the rim where the other Pistons defenders are actually allowed to contest him. but just like in his other play against the Celtics, it's too late at this point, and he already gets a good shot at the rim. Additionally, if Jordan drives to the rim and doesn't actually put up a shot, yet the defense still collapses on him, then it's very likely that they're gonna call an illegal defense violation on the Pistons if they end up getting caught in the middle between MJ and the man that they were supposed to be guarding. Basically, my point is that even though Jordan is without question the greatest one-on-one scorer ever, it was a lot easier back then for him to score in those one-on-one situations than it is today. After 2001, it was a lot harder for ISO superstars to score, and as a result, the teams have adapted as well. Isolation basketball is not as efficient as it is before, even if you did have a superstar ISO player. So over the years, the NBA has started to move away from it, and instead, now they use more pick and rolls because it generates better looks and more open shots. That's also another reason why every team in the league wants to surround their star player with shooters to space the floor, because then the defenders can't sag off as much since they don't want to give up like a wide open shot to a 40% three-point shooter. That's why the best players in the league, like LeBron for example, are so deadly when he's surrounded by 4 shooters, because opposing defenses have to pick their poison. Either let LeBron go one-on-one and stay on their man, or double team him and hope the open shooter misses. Anyway, that's pretty much how the illegal defense rules have changed isolation basketball over the years. People always talk about how Jordan would be so much more dominant in today's game because there's no hand checking. But they never mention how he'd probably have a more difficult time playing against the new zone defenses as well. It was a lot harder for guys like Kobe, T-Mac, or Iverson for example because the new defense rules were implemented in 2001, during the middle of their careers. So they didn't have like any time to adjust to it and they had to change up their game on the spot. Most people have speculated that the real reason the NBA implemented the zone change was because of Shaq's dominance in the paint. And it definitely makes sense, Shaq was just dominating everyone at that time. But still, even players like LeBron and D Wade who came into the NBA in 2003 still grew up playing with the old rules. So they were also at a disadvantage when they came into the league, so they had to adapt. Most kids today though are taught from a very young age about how to play against the zone defense. So that's why we see most of the young players today are already accustomed to it. And that's all folks, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I didn't make it to take a shot at MJ, and I don't want to take anything away from him. I just don't like when there are people who think that he'd average like 50 points a game in today's NBA because there's no hand checking. The illegal defense rules back then also helped him a lot. And since they're no longer here today, it's a lot harder for superstars to go off in ISOs. Thank you everyone for watching, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.